We had a little bit of technical problems on the first session, and it almost seemed that we were going to have a technical problem with my internet connection again, but luckily I was able to make it. A little bit about Adelante Americas. So we are following the footsteps of this successful project called Ambitious Africa, which was actually started about a year ago when the COVID-19 pandemic started, and I mean, everything moved online, so it made sense to start collaborating online. So what we are doing at Adelante Americas is that we are hoping to do the same thing that Ambitious Africa has done in Africa, but this time we are doing it in the Americas. And we started last fall and have established the US country team. And after this sustainability launch, we will be launching many national teams as like Team Mexico, Team Colombia, and Team Canada. And actually, since I mentioned the Team Canada launch, so today we are gonna launch a competition, a sustainable fashion competition after this panel discussion, and there we are inviting all designers, especially the ones who are into sustainability, to take part in this great competition that we'll tell a little bit more about. But the actual prize will be announced at the Team Canada launch, which will take place in the beginning of September this year. So further ado, I think we'll just go straight into the panel discussion. And today we have 4 great panelists who have joined us from around the world. And in the beginning, we will show a short video of children talking about sustainability. And after that, we'll just jump into the panel discussion. So Nicholas, would you start telling a little bit about our panelists?
All right, thank you, Outi. I will do that. So first of all, we have Anssi Mikola from River Recycle. Anssi is a serial entrepreneur. He's the founder of River Recycle. He has built many successful companies in the healthcare sector and is a valued mentor and chairperson for meaningful startups in life sciences and health tech. So welcome very much, Anssi. It's a pleasure to have you here. Then as our second panelist, we have Cynthia Arotzi-Zendejas. Cynthia is a social entrepreneur, a sustainability mentor, and currently is in charge of developing the programs in Mexico and Latin America for Evolve Abroad. Evolve Abroad is a initiative who has a mission to help people build careers with purpose while collaborating with grassroots organizations and mentors specialized in niche areas. She's also a veterinarian and holds an MSc in International Environmental Science. Welcome very much, Cynthia. Would you please, Outi, take the following panelists?
Yes, and then we have Katie Morales Medina, who is the founder of Beatty Rehab Project and Beatty Girls. And she's a strong advocate of human rights and has dedicated her life to fight human trafficking and the repercussions that So our fourth panelist today is Niklas Kaskeala, who is the head of sustainability at Compensate Foundation, which is a nonprofit on a mission to combat climate change by offering everyone easy access to carbon. So let's just start now with the video, and then we can discuss and use the children's comments as a base for our discussion.
Perfect.
I'm Siobhan and I am 6 years old and a half.
Hi, my name is Kate Rossetti. I'm 10 years old and I live in California.
Hi, my name is Savannah and I'm 8 years old.
I
sustainability, Siobhan?
Well, it's something that lives for a really, really, really long time.
Sustainability to me is saving resources to use them in more necessary things.
La durée de vie des objets.
Means it lasts forever and ever and ever.
To me, it means that you recycle and give your old toys away.
What do you want to be when you grow up, Savannah?
So I want to buy Chick-fil-A and turn it into an only girls restaurant. It's called Chickies, and I'm the manager, and only boys are the servants, but girls and have a fun time.
I want to be the boss.
I want to be an attorney when I grow up.
Vétérinaire pour soigner les animaux.
Well, I would like to be a veterinarian or an acrobat.
Doctor. Las doctoras y los doctores les ayudan a otras personas si están enfermos.
And I like it.
How can we make the world a better place?
Well, cleaning up and doing your chores.
By being kind to each other.
J'inventerai une auto à l'hydrogène.
Qu'est-ce que ça fait une auto à l'hydrogène?
Ça ferait moins de pollution.
Wow.
We can make the world a better place by using less plastic materials and recycling.
Well, by helping the earth. We try to make the world a better place. Kill all chemicals and make better things for the world.
What do you like most about our planet?
It has cool animals.
Horses and horse riding.
Le paysage, les animaux sauvages.
I like the ocean most on our planet.
I like playing, and I like going to the park.
What have you done to help others or to help the planet?
Oh, well, I help my sister. I help her clean up a little bit, and I help her do stuff she hasn't done before.
Je recyclerai et je nettoierai le bord des rivières.
Well, I went with my sister's friend, her name is Orla, and we picked up trash that we found. I mean, there was so much trash. We had 8 or 7 bags, maybe 9 even, full of garbage that we just found in this small place, this small jungle. And also at school I did it too, and we had like 4 bags full of trash. We had mega bags. My friend and me were picking up trash.
What should adults do so that when you grow up, you can still have a nice place to live?
Adults should work and get their little kids food so they know how to work and they watch them. So when they're older, they can do that stuff. Save up a bunch of money for college. Adults can plant healthy fruits, vegetables. They can plant strawberries. They could plant peppers, tomatoes.
Very good.
To help make a better place.
Dejas la planeta limpia en todos lados. Adults, they worry too much about things and overthink things. They should just
they should just relax and just go with it. Maybe they should just do what kids have been doing all the time, like picking up trash and maybe helping others too. Try and work together as a community and fight together against everything bad. I like to have adventures. I used to have adventures at school in the creek. That was the only fun I had at school. Most of the time I was just studying. And I was the best kid. I never got sat out of the room. I always got 100 out of 100. Sometimes I would get 50 out, but most times it would just be 100 out of 100. I tried to be the best person I could. And there was this kid, he's such an idiot.
Okay, I think we're good. Thanks.
Sorry about the idiot part.
Thank you so much.
very much, Connie. Moving then straight into the panel discussion, I'll throw the ball back to you. So what do you guys like most about our planet? And if no one wants to go first, please answer.
What I like most about the planet is the fact that you can go outside and you can change scenery. You have the oceans, you have the mountains. The variety is just fantastic.
Great answer. What about you, Niklas?
That it provides an environment where we can live. That's, I guess, we couldn't be on any other planet, I guess. So, simple answer.
Well, yeah, at least not yet. We are not able to move to Mars as Elon would like just yet.
Not
Maybe we'll get there.
Yeah, maybe. Let's take care of our planet first before we start thinking about making other planets more habitable, please.
I sure agree on that one. Cynthia, you're smiling. What do you think?
Yes, I like animals. I will go with the children. We have a lot of biodiversity and animals, and we can also live here.
Great. And then how about you, Katie?
Yeah, I mean, it's just beautiful to see what Mother Nature produces as well. So that really intrigues me, you know, the gemstones that we find in the earth and the way the ocean looks from the sky. And it's just beautiful, ever changing.
I have to agree with all of you. Great answers, and this just also the kids' answers. So it's great to see that we have very similar answers to 6, 8, and 10-year-olds. So sustainability can be defined in so many different ways. So I would just like to ask all of you before we go into the. And so, what is sustainability to you?
I can start.
Mm-hmm.
There's this delay that is kind of like funny. I can start with the formal official definition of it, which is, well, the use of natural resources so that we don't finish them pretty much, and when they can last for the younger generations. But for me, sustainability is something that lasts through time and that you make a good use of resources and in an efficient way use of resources.
Yeah,
so that's it for me.
Meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations. So
yeah, I would expand maybe a bit more to sort of staying within planetary boundaries. We have certain boundaries that the planet sets for us, so respecting them and staying with them and keeping our planet livable for us and other species as well.
Yeah, I like the planetary boundaries part. It's this planet has its boundaries and how much we can use As long as we use less than the planet produces, then life is sustainable. And at the moment, it's quite far from it.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to engineers. Myself being one.
Great, thank you. Anssi, you're the founder of River Recycle. So could you tell us just a little bit what is River Recycle, what do you do, and how did you come up with the idea of River Recycle?
All right. Okay. Thanks. And thanks for inviting me to the panel in the first place. Great to be here. What River Recycle does, our mission is to stop plastic pollution of the oceans coming through rivers. And that's sort of a attainable goal. And it started with my medical condition called the bubbling mind syndrome. I have this syndrome that every time my brain gets a little free time, it starts solving the last problem that it has seen. And I'd gone to bed looking at the ocean plastic pollution and having heard that a lot of it comes through the rivers. And then I woke up one morning and I had invented a river cleaner that cleans rivers without using any external power. And I thought it was a wonderful idea. This is a great technical invention, went about and patented it and or started patenting it. I thought that it was a wonderful solution. All we need to do is clean up 10 rivers and we can stop 90% of the plastic pollution going to the oceans. But being a serial entrepreneur, I then went about and called some of the owners of those rivers, meaning Vietnam, Indonesia, and asked if they would like to have their rivers clean. And it turned out that they said, absolutely no, over my dead body, I use my river. And that's when we ended up pivoting from cleaning rivers to cleaning rivers as a free service, which is what we currently sell, river cleaning as a free service. Because it turned out that from their perspective, there was no river plastic problem. It was just passing by. And as long as it's in the river, it is not the problem of the municipality. And it is not the problem of the river authority, because the law states that it is by law, the waste belongs to the municipality. So you're in a wonderful situation where the problem, as long as it's in the river, but the moment you lift it up, it does become a problem for the municipality. And the only thing that is lift it up. It's there. What can you do with it? You take it to a landfill, and your average landfill in a developing country has usually two good qualities. First of all, it's illegal, and second of all, it's full. And third, probably, is it's very far away. So you're looking at a situation where if you start cleaning up the river, you feel it's other people's problem, or at least the others are causing it upstream. And the moment you start cleaning, it becomes a cost. So they would not accept a river cleaner for free. They said, just go out, go away, because you're just causing us expenses for which we don't have money. So we got back to it and said, okay, what kind of a service would they like? So they would like a kind of service where they don't need to pay anything and the waste disappears without causing them any expenses. So now it's turned into a circular economy solution where we, first of all, clean the river. So that stops the ocean pollution. Then we recycle the plastic that comes from the river and turn it back to oil by using a technology called pyrolysis. And that turns it valuable enough that it can be sold back to the plastics industry, so that they turn it back to plastics and you create fully circular packaging. And that's in short what we do at the moment. There's a bunch of interesting technical details. Our presentation video says, this is what we do. Does it sound too simple to be true? You're right. There's a number of moving parts that are not present here. Please give us a call.
Thank you so much, Anssi. Every time I hear you talk about River Recycle, it's still very inspiring, and I believe other people will also find it exciting, and you'll be able to do it, even though some of the governments might not want. Cynthia, you have a really, really long history of working with sustainability, and could you tell your what changed during the time and abroad organization?
Can you repeat it again, please?
I mean, you have been working with sustainability for a long time. Do you see any, and how changed during these years?
Yes. So more than 20 years that I have been involved with environmental topics. And it's great to see, like right now, the video from the children talking about these topics, talking about we need to recycle and things like that. 20 years ago, even 30 years ago, that didn't happen as often. We hear these topics more and more. We have the SDGs, we have different sectors, industries, we have the academia, we have governments talking about SDGs, talking about sustainability. So I see that it has changed, that it's more in the minds of people, it's more present. And there, I also see a lot of more initiatives. And since this is about entrepreneurship, I also see more social entrepreneurships, more new startups or companies that are starting, but are related to topics that care about the environmental, are more for social justice and things like that. So that's how I see this change in the last 20 years, more people talking about that. And I'm like, okay, before I was a rare person that was wanting to do something, but now there's a lot more people who are not more and wanting to do more with sustainability. So that's what I see that has changed, which is good.
So, so Nicholas, you work for a very nice Finnish foundation called Compensate. So, could you tell us a little bit more about Compensate and your history?
Thanks, Outi. Yeah, so I'm head of sustainability at Compensate, which is a Finnish non-profit startup that helps companies, organizations, and consumers take responsibility for those emissions that they can't completely avoid or minimize yet. So basically, we provide an opportunity to offset your emissions, but we do it in a very, I would say, transformative way, not in the usual way that the way we consider offsetting. Basically, what we do is we have a scientific approach. We work together with the scientific community to choose the best ways to capture carbon from the atmosphere. So making it, very robust, our methods. We also have a very selective process. There are thousands of carbon capture projects out there that can be used for offset purposes. So basically, they sell these carbon credits, but we're very selective about them, and we actually reject about 9 out of 10 projects that we evaluate because they don't meet our criteria, even though they might have industry-leading standards supporting them. Then we're a non-profit. Most of the time, actors in this voluntary carbon market or offsetting market are for-profit, and our non-profit nature allows us to be super transparent about what we do. We don't take any cuts from the so-called compensation payments. We direct them straight to carbon capture. And the reason why we focus on carbon capture is basically that the climate crisis is at a stage where not even radical emission reductions are enough. Obviously, reducing emissions radically is the primary way to fight the climate crisis. I mean, they need to be done at extensive or extremely fast, but we're sort of past the point when that's enough. I usually use an analogy of a bathtub. If you would imagine a bathtub and that being our atmosphere, and then the water in that bathtub being the level of CO2 in the atmosphere. So basically, we've had the tap on for some centuries or decades already. meaning that the water is already overflowing. The same thing with the atmosphere. It's already so full of CO2 and other greenhouse gases that it's already causing all kinds of havoc and all kinds of damage. So obviously the solution is to turn the tap off. But even like, okay, humanity's solution has been to turn the tap off only slightly. We need to turn the tap off completely. And we're still some way from that. But even that's not enough if the water is already at dangerously high levels. To do carbon removal, carbon capture at scale, and do it quickly. So, you know, remove the plug from the bottom of the tub, basically drain out the excess water. We surpassed so-called safe levels of CO2 in the atmosphere back in 1987. That's already quite some time ago. And every day, every single minute, every single second, humanity keeps increasing the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So we need to change that direction completely by radically reducing emissions, but also by incentivizing and helping people, organizations, companies to also finance carbon removals, and we're sort of a platform that allocates money to the most effective ways and the most sustainable ways of removing carbon from the atmosphere. And my background before joining Compensate, I've been here for a couple of years, is in civil society, where I've worked for various international organizations on development, sustainability, and climate issues. So this is the first time I'm working in a business, really, in a very, very long time. Even though we're a non-profit business, it's still a business. So I'm used to the more civil society world. But yeah, really happy about trying to build a sustainable business as a startup, and at the same time trying to solve one of humanity's biggest challenges. So, and nice to be here, and thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, Niklas. Great to have you. Yes, it's very much a business, keeping in mind that Latin Americas and because Africa, we are also non-profits, so we like to see it as well as sort of, or at least becoming a business. Thank you very much, and as I said, great to have you here. Great to have you all here. Katie Morales, and the Beatty Rehab Project. You work with very important things with BRP, but how did you end up founding your project in the Dominican Republic? And could you tell a bit more about the importance of the jewelry business that you do?
Okay, yeah, thanks for having me. So I founded the Beatty Rehab Project in 2013. I was just graduated with my master's in architecture, had spent a couple of years working, doing rebuilds throughout the Gulf Coast after Hurricane Katrina. And I really had a heart for trying to help people, but in a sustainable way. And I went into the Dominican Republic due to a contact that I had known. And I wanted to develop a modular housing projects so that we could not only go in and empower the communities to be able to build better, but we could also reduce the cost, and we could improve on local building techniques. You know, it was a year of really kind of understanding how they built and their processes and procedures, and then what local building materials were available, and not working with materials that we were having to import. Looking at different types of architecture, you know, shipping containers and what that looked like and how it was going to be culturally accepted. So that's really how BRP started in 2013. And we harnessed the culture of design and collaboration by taking over design students from the university that I graduated from, which is SCAD in Georgia. So you have, you know, every major from, we had sustainable design students, we had architecture, interior design, to jewelry design, furniture. So we were basically pulling all of these students and these careers together, and then allowing them to see what was possible to do on the ground in a third world country. And what that basically produced was really kind of getting to know the communities where we were working in and understanding what the true needs were. You know, I'm sure that many of you know that a lot of typical organizations, it's always kind of focused on health, education, and ministry. And that was never really what we wanted to do. We wanted to do something that had never really been done before, and something that was needed too, which is really important. And so we went ahead and we were built 36 homes in 3 years. We're developing the model, fixing the things that didn't work, making sure that we had all of our wind load and our cement calculations, and really doing things the proper way. And then we came across human trafficking. So we were building homes in a community, and because we built a home for a family, the father came back to the mother and her children to claim his right on the family in the house. And due to that situation, he then began to traffic his 12 and 13-year-old daughter. And so it was a situation that we never even really expected to happen. It was something that completely shifted the dynamic, because as someone who was very much focused on helping and not hurting, that we weren't just going to continue to build houses and allow that situation to occur in other homes. And so what that looked like was a complete transition, 360 flip for the organization, where we shut down all of our international trips. We stopped building homes, and we went into kind of advocating for these girls and figuring out how we could provide for them and what they needed. And what that looked like was we started a jewelry workshop. We needed to get them out of the communities. We needed to get them working on something. We needed to get them in a place where they could feel that they were able to share what was going on and report. And basically what that led into was developing an entire holistic program that focuses on 5 impact levels, so that we can be able to provide, hope, empowerment, and restoration for the girls. The jewelry business, this is our ethical brand. And this has been developed because we have a local gemstone in the region, and there was heavy exploitation with the stone. The Chinese had come in and heavily exploited the stone as well. And we wanted to provide not only an income for the local artisans and miners, but we wanted to use it as a way to build revenue for the organization and give the mothers of these girls who were being trafficked jobs. So we wanted to bring it full circle. And so that's really where Batte Girls came along. And our initial jewelry was terribly ugly, as I'm sure many, was jewelry activities, figuring out what we could do and what people would purchase. And thankfully, we've grown the brand into a beautiful business that employs these women and girls and supports the organization as well. So.
You're from 4 great organizations that are obviously doing good work. I would like to ask, how has the current COVID-19 pandemic affected your organizations, and how do you see, what do you see happening in the future when the world has now changed a bit dramatically?
I could go first.
Go ahead.
Right. So for us, first, COVID was a dream come true. It was a major relief. I mean, we have offices in 4 countries, different time zones, and traveling and trying to run 4 offices at the same time, it actually gets quite tiring. You keep answering phones from the airports, and the connections are bad, and you're completely jet lagged. So for us, it was absolutely fantastic. All you need to do is just meet with everybody. And the best part was that you could meet the city of Manila, 3 different departments on the same call in a week, where otherwise you would have to fly down there. And it was really great. But now I must admit, when we're into installations, the cultural differences between Indonesia, India, and Finland, as in how technology is understood, are fairly big, we find. So trying to install a 300-meter wide, 3-5-ton river cleaner and pick up several tons of waste remotely is very challenging. And with Mumbai, they just locked down last week. Our installation job started right there, stopped right there. Indonesia, we can't get in. And trying to assemble a physical device remotely is still very, very difficult. So first great, now not so great.
what about you? What about, for example, Compensate, who is doing a lot of work? I think you were doing also before a lot of work from distance. So has COVID had implications on your organization?
Yeah, actually, it's we don't have an office anymore. We gave up an office because we're all at home, so we don't need to pay rent. So that's like a very very big change. But yeah, we're still, most of our staff of about 20, we're in Finland. So I mean, we're in the same time zone, and perhaps we don't have the same cultural challenges that Anssi described. But I would obviously, I think the larger impact is that, I would hope that the larger impact of COVID is that people will start reflecting on sustainability. I mean, essentially, the pandemic is caused also by the same, root causes that cause climate change, that cause the biodiversity collapse we're experiencing at the moment. So, overconsumption and over exploitation of natural resources, basically. Some positive signs, some negative signs that, once we go past the pandemic, that we will not go back to normal in the same sense that we were. But I was maybe more optimistic at the beginning, when people kind of were a bit scared and sort of saw this, that, okay, this is a sign of something even worse to come in the future if we don't tackle the climate crisis or the biodiversity crisis, which are much, much, much bigger challenges than this. But lately, I'm maybe not so optimistic. Global emissions went down by about 7% last year due to the pandemic, but we need to maintain that level of emission reductions every year for the next 30 years if we want to reach the goals of the Paris Agreement, for example. So imagine the magnitude of, the entire world was in a lockdown in some form or another last year, but still only 7% reduction in emissions. So that gives you, I would say, from that you can kind of understand how large of a structural changes we need in societies to actually tackle the climate crisis. But I hope this is a wake-up call. I'm still hoping for that, but I'm perhaps slightly more pessimistic than I was at the beginning of the pandemic. Sorry, I need to go and get a charger for my laptop. I have 5% left battery, so I'll put my camera off for just a second. Thanks.
Go ahead. What about Cynthia or Katie? How big of an impact has COVID had on your organization?
I can go. In terms of the impact for us, it's been huge because our cases went up dramatically. So, obviously everyone's at home. So our human trafficking cases have gone up. Our abuse inside of homes has gone up. And so as soon as the pandemic started, we were doing back-to-back rescues from May onwards. And so we went from having 2 girls in our home to having 18 within a year. So it was a huge, it was a blessing in a sense where we were able to work with the local authorities, and with the country being, closed down. We still actually do have curfew in the Dominican Republic even today. So it made it a little bit easier for us to be able to maneuver across the country and also to investigate and to get the information that we needed to be able to help the girls. So it's definitely affected our funding. That's obviously probably for everyone. People during the pandemic initially were, terrified. And so they cut, donations because they're trying to conserve. So, that has been a big impact. And also for our jewelry business, that was a booming business before because we did events everywhere and we talked about the work that we were doing, and there's no events. So you kind of have to reinvent the wheel and, get everything online. But then also, that costs money to market your product to a new audience as well. So it's been challenging for sure.
Yeah, I can go next. It was challenging, but it also pushed us to rethink our industry, which is international education. And it also enabled us to provide more opportunities for people to access international education and to the programs that we provide that are related to sustainability, and give them tools and training to the students and to young professionals that want to be part of it. A lot of it comes from experience, and for experiential education, sometimes you learn more when you do the things yourself. So you go to the country, and of course you have to travel, and that will cause pollution and carbon, etc. So we could provide our courses virtual, and we could give the opportunity to more people to be part of these courses. So like we're giving half of the are coming with scholarships. They are not paying anything to be able to be part of these international education courses. So we're trying to get the global north with the global south together to interact more and to give these experiences to people from the south and also from the north to see what other realities are there in the world. So for us, I would a positive change or a positive push. Yeah, but right now everything is kind of opening. More people are starting to travel, and that's not so bad because we also need hands in different parts to help grassroots organizations. But we will see how it goes and how it evolves.
Thank you very much. Actually, going back to what Anssi said, I think this is something we're also seeing in both Ambitious Africa and Adelante Americas. It's, I mean, initial talks are so easy. And I was actually waiting for Anssi's answer because I remember, I think it was last fall when we met with Anssi to go to Ambitious Africa, and he was so happy that he can be in many places in the same time and have meetings across the globe. And I have to agree on that because it's so, like, initial meetings discussing with people is so easy. But now also in Ambitious Africa, what we have seen, trying to implement stuff, I have been wondering that how on earth could Anssi like this? I mean, this is so hard, to reach out to people. So I was really, really looking forward to hear the answer to that. But I think, moving forward also, I think that's something that will be sort of a balanced thing, that meeting new people and making new going to be very much easier. Because as I said in the previous session, we can, in Ambitious Africa, we are able to connect people from Africa with people from China in, one afternoon. We are able to have meetings across the globe, everything in one day. And that's so good because we are able sort of to get to know people before we start working with them without traveling to the country and, searching there for them. I think that's one of the good parts. But then, implementing stuff, that's where it gets hard. And I think that's something that's going to be really, really hard to change in the future, and perhaps something that we don't even want to change in the future. Talking about the future and moving there, if you could do 3 things, anything you would like to in sustainable entrepreneurship right now, what would you do? It can also be within entrepreneurship or sustainability as such, but or then sustainable entrepreneurship.
3, but I certainly know 1.
All right.
I would implement a global virgin material tax, because that would turn recycling completely on its head. If you had a 2,000% tax on crude oil, then pyrolysis oil or bio oil would start looking quite different. It would start making sense to collect every single piece of used plastic and turn it back to plastic, or either recycle it as plastic or chemically recycle it back to oil. It would make perfect sense. And on that moment, I think we could have, let's say, $500 billion getting into recycling. I think it would be a matter of less than a year when we would stop polluting nature with plastic, because there'd be money in it. I'm a simple person. I can only think of one thing at a time.
That's so now that we have you, Niklas, back here, I asked that if you could do 3 things right now within sustainable entrepreneurship, or only entrepreneurship, or only sustainability, if you will, what would you do? What would you do? And Anssi said he would do 1 thing.
Yeah. Okay. I'll start with 1 thing. Let me think of a couple of other things maybe. A bit similar to what Anssi said, actually. I would start, or I think we need to start pricing carbon internally and externally, and do it at all levels of society. I mean, we already have various forms of carbon taxes, for example, around the world, but usually they're not visible to normal people or consumers or even businesses don't quite understand them yet. They're sort of hidden within the structures. In Europe, we have a emission trading scheme and others that put a price on carbon from heavy industries and such. But for example, to the normal person on the street or the average consumer, we don't understand the climate impact our choices have. So definitely, I would love to work, or what we're doing, but I would love others to work on is also sort of being able to communicate in a more transparent and understandable way the climate impact that either individuals or businesses have, and then the choices that they make. The problem today is that climate impact is communicated in ways that are not comprehensible to an average person. We're talking about like tons of CO2. That's the weight of an invisible gas. Like if I ask someone, the next person I meet, is 1 ton of CO2 a lot or a little, they won't know. They like it's like not really very understandable. So we need other types of metrics as well. So what we've tried to do is use currency, use money, use the value in the sense that how much it costs to clean up after yourself. How much does it cost to clean up that damage? Listening to the kids earlier in the video, they were saying like there were a lot of them were talking about cleaning up our trash, physical trash. But we need to start thinking about carbon dioxide in a similar manner. We're not dumping it in a dump site. We're dumping it in the atmosphere. It's just that it's invisible to us, but we should start thinking about it in other terms. So that requires kind of a change in our mindset as well. We can't continue dumping our CO2 in the atmosphere because we can see what kind of damage it's causing. So making this invisible gas that's causing so much trouble somehow more comprehensible, understandable, and putting a price on it throughout society. I think that's kind of one. I don't know, but I spoke a lot, so I'll give the others a chance to maybe they can come up with 3 things then.
I can say 2 things. What Anssi and Niklas said. One is more support to social entrepreneurship, to social responsibility departments in big corporations. Normally they have a very low budget, and I have seen lots of very good ideas in the entrepreneurship world that doesn't come through because you need to make a living, and at least here in Latin America, you either work or to eat, or you go and follow your dream. So that's one thing that I think that I will change, or I will try to implement. Give more support to the social entrepreneurship, to these big, great ideas, so that they can continue and you can eat while you do it. Because sometimes, as some of you were already saying, you have to see how to make it profitable in a way that it gives you some income to live. And the second one is more of communication, as Niklas was saying, but in the mass media. We see TV programs, movies, and things like that. And I really hate when I see a movie and they leave the water running. I'm like, oh my God, no, please don't, because that's what people see and that's what people will follow. But if we could have that more in the mass media, more people will get more conscious about the issues and maybe bring this CO2 more visible and people could understand it better. Maybe we understand it well. We talk about it with our friends, but there's another layer of the society that don't really talk about these issues. So bring that more into the mass media. And let me think about the third one, but those two I can come up with.
Okay, I'm back. So let me see. Well, the big one that I'm thinking of is just education in general. One of the things that we talk about is the cycle of poverty and also the cycle of abuse. So how we operate as an organization, we focus on 2 generations at the same time. This really applies to everything, really, because children are a product of their environment. So you see the innocence and, you know, like in the video and their response to everything. But if you did the same video with the same children and, you know, in 8 years' time, it would be completely different because they've been conditioned by society. You know, it's children are like sponges. And so we live in a very densely populated culture that is very focused on things that kids don't need to be focused on, which is, you know, why you have things like human trafficking, which is a huge issue because there's children being exploited online. And when it comes down to it, you know, we do a lot of education, even in our communities with outreach, because some children don't honestly realize that that type of abuse isn't normal. And so, you know, it's kind of, I think it applies to everything really, because if we can increase education, you know, you can implement that in all areas of life. And then once you're educating a mother, then she's going to be educating her child, and then that child, that's breaking the cycle. So that's one thing that I would love to be able to see, you know, more focus on. And that really pertains to, you know, also like what you were saying about producing in the media so that, you know, kids are learning about, you know, things like carbon and emissions and what a car, you know, what are the options, you know, between, you know, wind energy and solar panels, and, you know, also education going into also innovation. You know, a lot of communities that we've worked in, they just simply don't know how to do something better or cheaper. It's just kind of what they know and they pull together. And so what I've seen so much also working in a third world country is just how educated and how many incredible ideas a lot of people have. And so if they were only empowered, you know, with a little bit of financial means, they would be able to produce, you know, incredible sustainable projects that could help an entire community. And, you know, one of our biggest areas obviously is gender equality, which is one of the SDGs. So that's a really big one for me. I would really love to be able to see how we can help more women and girls and empower them out of certain situations by giving them more jobs. And so, you know, the increase in social entrepreneurship opportunities like our jewelry brand, which gives them the base and the foundation to move forward, because really empowerment really starts with empowering them with the education and the knowledge, but also giving them the financial means to be able to support themselves and move forward. So I don't know if that was 3, they were kind of all mixed, but education is my big one that kind of pulls everything together. So
great, great comments, thank you. Since you're the head of sustainability at Adelante Americas, what about you, Outi? What would you do?
Well, I am currently doing my dream job. I am working with sustainability, but I mean, I would love to go back to work for the UN, and maybe there would be, because I did my internship there a long time ago. So I think I would like to do my impact via an organization, even if it's Adelante Americas, even if it's United Nations or some other organization. But I mean, it is very difficult to work alone. So I definitely urge everybody who is listening to with other organizations. And actually one of the things that that we wanted to do today is that is to call for action, because I know Katie and Cynthia, you're very much present already in the Americas. for Anssi and Niklas with these great two organizations. I'm hoping that also they could find some collaborations in that region, and hopefully Katie and Cynthia also. So hopefully through our event you'll be able to find new partners and people that are very much like-minded. And I would like to remind that also in the room, so there is the exhibitors tab where you can find the information of all our panelists. I mean, the companies they are, or the organizations they're working for. So for Beatty Girls, where you can order the jewelry. So the link is there. And also I urge everybody to be in contact with other panelists and other participants, so that maybe we can find new people to collaborate with. I think we're running out of time, so I think we have just one last question to ask, going back to the children's videos. If you could think children's perspective, what should adults do now so that our children or today's children will have a nice planet when they grow up? And as one of the girls said on the video, is that adults are maybe sometimes overthinking things. So I would just really like you to also think about it from children's perspective. What should we as adults do?
Maybe I can start just simply taking responsibility for our actions. We need to understand that even if we try to live sustainable lives, we're still adding CO2 to the atmosphere all the time, making the prospects for future generations and our children worse all the time. So we need to really change in our mindset. What gives us the right to add CO2 or carbon dioxide, other greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, when we know it's going to cause so much damage to future generations and even my own children, for example? What gives us the right to do that? We can't prevent all of the emissions today. Our society is structured in a way that we can't go to zero emissions overnight, but we have the means to take responsibility for those emissions that we can avoid. We obviously need to avoid and minimize all emissions, but we can also take responsibility for those emissions we can't avoid by, for example, supporting projects that remove carbon from the atmosphere. So really, the biggest revolution I think that we need in order to mitigate climate change is in between our ears. We need to understand that we need to take responsibility on all levels, and individual responsibility can lead to more sort of abstract organizations like companies or institutions or even states and municipalities to also recognize their responsibility.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
I was going to say that I just wanted to follow up on that because I think that we live in a very selfish culture. Sometimes I have a big issue sometimes when I'm talking about human trafficking, and some people will just say, oh, that doesn't happen here. I don't need to know about that. It's too many details. That's not nice. And I'm like, just imagine how that 9-year-old boy felt when he was being sexually exploited. So, and as a person who works directly with the victims and listens to their stories and walks them through this journey to freedom, I think we live in a world sometimes where people are so focused upon themselves. And if it doesn't pierce their bubble, then they're not really interested. And so that's really like taking responsibility for the fact that you're one of how many people that live in this world, and we all collectively we make up the world, right? So goes back to responsibility, because a lot of times we'll see in terms of organizations on a large level the macro and not the micro, right? Because it's a grassroots organization, so they're not really doing that work, but this organization is a multi-million-dollar organization that's doing amazing work. And the reality is, when you compare the impact, the micro organization is actually doing much more than the macro. So I think taking responsibility applies to so many different areas that I completely agree with as well. So
yeah, I can go next. I agree with both of you, Katie and Niklas, and I would say for us to be congruent, say, and what we do. And a little bit of what you guys already said, not and what Uti, collaborate with each other. Sometimes we're very selfish, and that's true. We just work on our on our square without trying to collaborate and open a little bit more. We could do a lot more if we collaborate. And I will also, Katie said before, which I really liked, to be innovative, to think outside the box, to bring solutions or to propose solutions to tackle some of the issues that we already have. So those three things will be my what we can do. There's a lot, but I will go with these three ones.
I'll still stick to just one, building on Nicholas's thought, which I thought was lovely in how simple it is. We need to put a price on the bad we do. So I'd support this sort of American kind of value-added tax based on CO2 and virgin materials. That would make it very easy for both us and the children to be transparent about the price of what we do. You'd stop being selfish at the point where at the cash register, you thought you bought something that was worth 100, and then the cash register lady says, yes, and that will be $282 of carbon tax. Thank you very much. That would teach the children as well, because when your parents then turn back from the cash register and say, let's go and get the recycled one, don't we, honey? And that'll be a quick change.
Great. Yeah, sorry, go ahead if you have.
No, I was just saying that's very true, especially because with I just wanted to add, in our jewelry brand, for example, there's a lot of jewelry companies out there that make jewelry, right? But really they don't make it. They just buy it from China and then they resell it. And they don't realize that they're pumping, that the ones that are continuing this cycle, and it's not helping, So I think sometimes just people don't, maybe it's just putting things in perspective. That's all it takes sometimes, is to pull people back to, did you actually know that this is, I didn't even think of it like that, because we are living in our bubbles, at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So yeah, very true.
Yes, great. Thank you, everyone. Before we end, first of all, I would like to everyone who's listening as well say that this is our call to action, but remember that we need everybody's help to move anywhere. And thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Thank you also to all our panelists. And always remember that Adelante Americas is the matchmaker. So if you have a great idea, if you have an issue, you can reach out to anyone in the team at any time. If you think you have an idea, reach out to us. If you think you have an issue, reach out to us. We're always willing to talk to new people. We are looking for team members in all of Americas, North and South America. We are looking to start new countries. We are looking to start new initiatives and really target different fields of sustainability in all of the Americas. So please reach out to us at any time. I think it's great looking not only at this discussion, but in general, that more people are interested in sustainability. Also, I'm looking personally, I'm a final year student in finance. When I started, there was not a single word of sustainability in finance, not one. Now we have mandatory courses. And this is a shift coming from, because remember, people in this field, especially university teachers, in my mind in this field, they are very old school. So it takes the step for them to come into something like this, it's huge. But now we have seen I think a huge shift in the couple last years that we have mandatory courses, and there are many more courses that are coming in all the time. And sustainability is also becoming a topic, in not only sustainable courses, but because this is how it used to be, that we have had, a course in sustainability, and that's it. When it's now coming in everyday courses, also in university, which in my mind is looking good for the future as well. Again, also in entrepreneurship, I think sustainability is moving towards the entrepreneurship, or entrepreneurship is moving towards sustainability. And we hope that we will see even more of this in the future. And looking a couple of years back, I think we see a lot of new companies who have been quite niche, who are now growing, whose whole business idea is sustainability. And that's sort of everything they do is sustainability. It's not something they add on afterwards. It just happens so that, hey, this is sustainable. This is what we do. This is who we are. I think it's great to see this. I hope we see more of this. And really, as I said, if anything, anyone has anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us. If you just want to chat, reach out to us. Thank you very much to everyone who's been listening. Don't leave. We will have a competition launch very soon. And thank you very much to all our panelists. And stay tuned for the launch of Riikka Couture's competition.
Yes, thank you so much for the panel also. So we will now move on to the sustainable competition launch. Panelists, you can stay online if you want to, but if you could just switch off your cameras now. Please do make one-on-one meetings if you want. You can deal room, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you so much. About this, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. About the sustainability, sustainable fashion competition. So we have the pleasure of welcoming Riikka Ikäheimo here. She is actually currently in Finland and has submitted her parts here beforehand, but I know she's listening here, so thank you so much, Riikka, for collaborating with us. It truly means a lot. So Riikka Couture was founded in Paris from the passion to create something beautiful and elegant. And the founder, Riikka Ikäheimo, is a self-taught clothing designer who began her career after having visions of gowns in her dreams. And she developed her skills by turning old fabrics from the flea market into these stunning dresses. And as she continued to create, her career progressed, finally leading her to Paris to find herself. The city of love soon taught her that one cannot be found, but rather must be created. This marked the true beginning for Riikka Couture. The designer creates from passion, gets inspired by kindness, and hopes to spread happiness with her dresses. So with this said, we're now going to watch a short video of Riikka's brand, and I think it really nicely visualizes also what her brand is all about. So Connie, please.
Share my screen, give me a second.
So the company began in a one-bedroom apartment with a small piece of lace fabric, and now has become a strong, elegant, and remarkable fashion brand. So as you saw from the video, Riikka does a lot of like everything handmade, and each dress that she designs is made handmade in Finland, and they only use the finest fabrics. The designs are meant to last and look great on all occasions that life will bring you. So I actually met Riikka first time through our mutual interest on the circular economy. So Riikka actually rents her dresses. She thinks that just meant for one person, but should actually be used multiple times. So now I will invite Riikka here to talk about what sustainable fashion means to her. Connie, please.
Hello, all you beautiful designers out there. My name is Riikka Ikäheimo, and I'm the founder of my brand Riikka Couture. When I started, I knew nothing about designing, how to make clothes, or even how to build a brand. But in my early age of my career, I realized that if you really want something and you put your heart in it, you can get it. You just never can give up. You have to be determined and believe in your dreams. As a designers, we have huge responsibility, not just to make our dreams to come true, but also to make the world a better place. What are your choices of building a brand that lasts time? In my brand, we create pieces that can be worn in multiple ways, and they last time with their classic designs, but also with the materials. It's our responsibility, and we have to make sure that we leave behind something for the generations after us that can be proud of our designs, us reaching our dreams, but also making the world a better place.
So a little bit about. So what we're doing is that we are calling out all the designers in the Americas, and we are hoping to find young designers, any designers that are interested in sustainability and sustainable fashion, to recreate Riikka's design. And as an inspiration, we're going to show you a video of Riikka's red dress that she has made from scratch, and we would like to encourage these designers to recreate a dress, as this is about fashion. So the dress does not have to be a red gown. It can be anything that your imagination says that it will be. Maybe it will come even to your dreams. But as an inspiration, we want to show you a short video of what Riikka has created. So Connie, please go ahead.
Yes, and if I could also add that in the competition, we're also looking for integrating of cultures. So if you're from different cultural backgrounds, we would love to see that. And we're also looking at the center of this competition is sustainability. So let us know how it is that you create the sustainable fashion that you are working under, so that we can evaluate the competition as well. So with that said, let me go ahead and share the video.
So we are, as I said earlier, we hope that you will use this beautiful red dress design of Riikka Couture as an inspiration and a base to create your own version of it. But I mean, you can use any material. You can think outside of the box. We of course hope that you will use a material that is sustainable. There are so many companies in the world. Also in Finland, we have multiple companies that are actually using what is waste for somebody else as a really important material to create something new. So I would like to see some dresses or pieces or fashion that is done from what somebody else might think is trash or waste or something that maybe as we mentioned earlier, so when Riikka started her career, she was using material that she found from the flea market. And I mean, the sky is the limit, and we are hoping to get very nice pieces of competition. A little bit more about the competition. So it will take place starting from today, and you can start visioning your piece, but we would hope to get the final pictures of your design by the beginning of August. And then on the occasion of the Team Canada launch, which is said to be September. So we will then have Riikka as one of our judges, and we have great people from Canada to join our judges, and we will then announce the winner. So a little bit about the prize. So of course there will be a little prize that has value if we think about the monetary value, but more importantly, we are hoping that the prize person or organization or people who are collaborating with each other to competition will be actually non-monetary, and it can be a very valuable collaboration with one of our partners, or just by joining this competition. So we hope so please you can email us or you can contact us from Deal Room via Deal Room if you have any questions, and of course we'll be posting some more in social medias alongside. But we are so much looking forward to this, and we are so happy that Riikka is partnering with us on this, and I just wish more fashion would think of things from the sustainable side. And personally, I have to agree with everything I said about Riikka, because she truly is, if you ever get a chance to meet her, she truly is I think one of her slogans is fashion with kindness, but she's a very kind woman with great vision, and an intelligent designer that cares about others. So you're all going to see Riikka on the occasion of our Team Canada launch in September. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Outi. Also from my side, it's a pleasure to work with Riikka and Riikka Couture. If you did not get everything, we'll post it on our social media. You will also find it on our webpage at atalanteamericas.org. We'll have more instructions there. If you have some friends or relatives you think could be a good fit for this competition, you can guide them there, or you can guide them to our social media. We will answer any questions on our social media, and we will also be posting on this throughout the summer, all the way up till August, when we are expecting the final submissions for the competition. So thank you very much also from my side, and a special thanks to Riikka for being a part of us and wanting to work together with us.
On my side, I just want to say that we're going to continue to reach out to a lot of different, our focus also is to give visibility to the smallest of fashion designers out there in the Americas. So we're going to be reaching out to these small, sustainable fashion enterprises that are out there. So if you know of anybody out there that you think might be interested, send us their username, and we'll reach out to them, send us their email, and we'll be reaching out to them to participate in the competition as well. Starting Monday, we'll have more information on our website regarding the way to sign up for the competition so that we can move forward with it. And I also want to take this time to thank Rika for creating this design for us, for working with us, right, for this competition. And I also would like to take the time to thank our panelists. The discussion we had, I think, is very much needed at this point in time. We are reaching the point of hopefully that this pandemic is going to be over soon. And I feel like one of the things that we can take out of this is that we have crushed the boundaries of borders and working together. We are streaming right now again from Laredo, Texas in the USA, from Finland, and from the United Arab Emirates in Dubai. I'm sorry, Dubai and the United Arab Emirates. And so again, there's no excuse for us not to work together on this and to make change happen. So again, take advantage of the deal room, take advantage of this organization, and just going a little bit deeper into the teams that we are creating. If you or anybody you know is out there in the Americas and would like any sort of assistance, like Nicholas mentioned, we are a matchmaking organization where we will put you in contact with either somebody that can help you or with any software or any tool that is useful to you. So thank you all so much again for tuning in. And OT, Nicholas, do you all have any other final thoughts?
Yes. Actually, I would like to take a moment to thank our partners. So first of all, I think a huge thanks to Deal Room for having the platform available for us, really to working closely with us on the platform to make this event or to make us able to even have this event and to make it happen on the platform. So huge thanks to them. Also, huge thanks to Sustory, whose office I'm actually using right now. You can see the SDG wall behind me. So Sustory is a non-profit organization based in Helsinki, really focusing on bringing sustainable stories to life. So sustainable storytelling and targeting sustainability in different companies and organizations in Finland and all of the Nordics and potentially all of the world in the future. Third, I would like to thank Ambitious Africa and everyone in Ambitious Africa for working together with us, and huge thanks also to Ron Eriksson from Ambitious Africa for always being there and helping us, and to Maija Luukka, who is always assisting me in everything I need, and also thanks to Outi and to Kani for working together with me. So thank you really much to everyone also for listening to us. But don't leave just yet. We still have, as we are a three-leg organization with sustainability as the body, we still have the entertainment session coming later tonight. Now I can finally say later tonight, because it's going to be later tonight both in the US and in Finland and in Dubai. So don't leave, stay tuned, and you'll have the opportunity to listen to some amazing music and also to listen to a great interview with Peter Westerbacka, who also is a great resource for both Ambitious Africa and Adelante Americas. So thank you very much to everyone also from my side.
Thank you, and I'll see you all at 6 p.m. CDT, which is 3 a.m. here in Dubai and 2 a.m. in Finland. And we'll start with the amazing interview with Peter Westerbacka and Juan del Cerro, and then continue with who I think is the funniest girl or the funniest person in the world, Carrot Foster. She will talk about you can be perfect or you can be happy. And we will close the entertainment session with a beautiful performance by Cinnamon Denise. We'll also talk about music and happiness. So looking forward to the last part of our sustainability launch. And that it's going to be very late in Finland, so if you're not able to join us, so we will stream also the entertainment session to YouTube, and it will be available there later on. But thank you all so much, and I am just so happy that the discussion today has been amazing on both education and the entrepreneurship sessions. So we'll continue have great discussions here also on the last session. Thank you.
Thank you very much to everyone.
We are a youth-led organization that seeks to promote entrepreneurship and to solve some of the world's most pressing problems through entrepreneurship in the Americas. We are part of the AA network, which comprises Adelante Americas, Ambitious Africa, and Aspiring Asia. So a huge shout out to all of our sister organizations. And OT, would you like to say something?
Yeah, my name is Oti, and thank you so much for coming here. It is 3 a.m. in Dubai, so as we are about to go to the Juan del Cerro's interview in pajama, so I also switched to my pajama, and I think we should just go look at this amazing video that was actually shot a few days ago already, where Juan del Cerro interviews Peter Westerpakka, and I don't think either of them needs to be introduced. So I think, Connie, we can just put on the video and enjoy this incredible conversation between these two amazing people. Perfect.
Yes. So a little bit more about this interview. We are only showing 30 minutes out of this interview, but this interview was actually an hour long. So please go ahead and go and look at Juan del Cerro's social media, Juan del Cerro's avenues, and you'll be able to find the whole interview, which is full of really good detail and really good information regarding branding and marketing, which is what we had to leave out since we are focusing right now on sustainability. But definitely go and check them out. And with that being said, let me go ahead and play the video for you all.
Okay, so we are recording now, and I'm very excited to be here today at a sustainability launch in Adelante Americas. My name is Juan del Cerro, and this is a special edition of my show, Emprender en Pijama, starting you up in your pajamas, becoming an entrepreneur in your pajamas. And it's a very special edition because we're here with Peter, aka the Big Eagle, one of the creators of Rovio Entertainment, the company behind Angry Birds. But not only that, Peter is an amazing entrepreneur, an amazing promoter of entrepreneurship, of the entrepreneurial culture. You are working in your back. We can see an image of this amazing project you're investing in, which is a very long-term project. How do you get into that mindset of building a vision of what you want? Because we already talk about passion, no, about working on stuff you love, but also from passion you need vision on where you want to get to. How do you build that?
Yeah, but I think that that's very important, and I think that it's also kind of like about. I mean, also a big part of that is leadership. But I mean, what I always say that if you don't know where you are going, you're not going to get there, which is like obvious. But I think that it's amazing how many companies have no clue about like where they want to go. I think that it's again like if you ask the employees like, okay, what do you do here, at the company, and then you will get 100 different answers. And I think that then of course it most likely will not be very successful because you don't know where you want to go. And I think that and also one thing that maybe experience, but for me it's always been very clear that sometimes it can take many years, but like you have to believe that okay, there will be success, there will be results, and maybe it's not in 1 year, 2 years, maybe it takes 10 years, but you have to have the patience to kind of like then pursue your like dream, pursue your vision, and also like then doing that for like a sustained like period of time. And I think that is also about or a key part of entrepreneurship, that you can't give up like first setback that you have, but you just have to keep going. So then we also come to this like about the leadership, that I think that it's very important that you communicate, and then you communicate and communicate and even more, so that you have to repeat and repeat and repeat, what it's all about, where you want to go together. And if you don't share that, then how will people know? And it might feel very annoying to you, that, oh, I have said this 1,000,000 times, but okay, you only said it 1,000,000 times. You need to say it one and then keep going. So I think that is really so important. And that's always kind of like how I've been building things, that building it around a strong brand, and the brand for me, it's not just like some visual kind of like representation of, like what you're doing, but it's kind of like the whole thing. It's the brand, the story, everything, that is, and if you take Angry Birds, I mean, it's a brand that when you first hear Angry Birds, you will ask why, and then why are the birds angry? When you ask that question, the brand will be, so that's like how good branding works. And then we had some very simple metrics, like in the beginning, that okay, we're going to have $100 million, which everybody back in the day thought that hey, it's impossible. But then once we hit that goal, everything became easy, because that was kind of like what we do at Rovio, 100 million, new game, 100 million, new game, 100 million. So it kind of like became part of like what we do. Or another thing that started together with a few friends in 2008, because we need to get more entrepreneurial thinking going here in the finest Bay Area. So we started Slush. Everybody else was doing this, what I would call like wannabe Silicon Valley events, and everybody wants to be Silicon Valley of this, Silicon Valley of that. I mean, you go to Tokyo and they will tell you that they will become like the Silicon Valley of Asia, and in Beijing they will tell you that, hey, Silicon Valley of China. And I just actually finished this with the EU, people in Brussels about like what we need to do in Europe. And then I said that, hey, Silicon Valley, fantastic place. I started my working life there, but it's already there. You can't lead by following. You can't copy your way into leadership. So with Slush, we decided that we're going to organize it in November. So when you come to Finland in November, it's cold, dark, slush on the ground. So it's not the Silicon Valley. It's better.
Let me just explain, because we don't have the slush in Latin America. So let me just explain the concept, because I think it's very cool what you've built from a concept like that. Slush is basically, what snow becomes when it falls to the ground. It's dirty, it's wet, it's slippery.
It's not a positive thing.
It's not something cool. Something you say, oh, I'm so happy there's a slush now all around the city. And so you took that concept of something different and you made it a huge event. And now I want obviously for you to finish telling us the story of the event, but more so than the event, it became a cultural phenomenon, and then it changed the entrepreneurial culture in your country. So sorry, I interrupted you. You were telling about when you started building Slush, and you wanted to make something different.
Yeah, with the Slush thing that everybody else wants to be Silicon Valley of this and that. So we decided that actually what we're going to do is that we're going to be better. So, the cold, the dark, slush on the ground, not the Silicon Valley, better and better because it's different. And why is Slush different? Actually, we started the event to change the mindset. So like in 2007, I gave a talk to 600 students at Aalto University about entrepreneurship. And then I asked, okay, so how many of you guys are going to start a startup, or join a startup once you graduate or even before? And only 3 out of 600 raised their hand. Complete disaster. I mean, everybody just wanted to work for a big company like Nokia or Wärtsilä or Kone or one of these guys. And we had to do something. So then together with a few friends, we started Slush to change the mindset. And Slush then has become the biggest and best startup event on the planet. So November every year in Helsinki. It's much bigger than anything in Silicon Valley or anything in China, when it comes to startups. And again, why not? We decided to make that so. But the main thing is that 5 years after starting Slush, I went back to Aalto and I gave the same talk, asked the same question, how many will, start a company, join a startup? And more than half the hands went up. So we totally changed the mindset and attitude around entrepreneurship. And when I say we, actually, we meaning local, like young people, they are building it, they are doing it. So we had 20,000 people from 160 countries like last Slush, and it was built by 2,600 young people who were there, not because somebody told them to be there, but because they want to be there, because they love to be there. So they are volunteering and they are building Slush. So it's again a learning by doing thing. And that is also like what I'm doing now with this finest Bay Area that you can see in the background. We are creating an area here with the highest talent density on the planet. And we already have the highest number of unicorns per capita. So we are much more successful if you use that metric than China, than Silicon Valley, than anybody. And I think that is kind of like a bit, of the thinking now with, Adelante Americas, Ambitious Africa, is to take that kind of mindset, that kind of approach and now working across Latin America, bring the people, here in Finland, in Nordic countries together with the
Peter,
people.
hi, sorry, I'm having a little bit trouble with the connection.
Okay. Yeah, your video froze.
There you go. Okay.
Now it's back. Yeah.
Can you see me now?
Yes. No, it's fine.
Sorry, I'm having a little bit trouble with my internet connection. Let me see. I think it works.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it breaks up again, don't despair or don't. I'll change my cable.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah.
Perfect. So we'll.
But anyway, the story of Slush is such that we want to change the mindset, and we did.
And I've heard the story. You've told the story. Probably a lot of the people who are the CEOs, they probably haven't heard it, which is really cool. But I want to ask you what happened. Like why did Slush? Like what were the elements in the culture that changed between going from wanting to be entrepreneurs to more than half of the students want to be entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
But I want to tell this as a transition into going to your work now into Ambitious Africa and Adelante Americas. So I have to tell you, I really admire what you've done as an entrepreneur with Rovio and everything. But I'm a fan, and I'm a crazy fan of what you've done since you left. Not because you left the company. Well, you left the company. You stopped working there, but you're part of the company. To build more stuff, to build more cultural changing stuff. Like these two projects, like Ambitious Africa and Adelante America, which are giving entertainment, education, and entrepreneurship to young people in other regions of the world. You also have a project in Asia as well, Aspiring Asia, I think it's called. So you're not now bringing everything that you've learned from this experience in Rovio, this experience with Slush, to all these other countries and places in the world. So before we talk about those projects, and we'll get to them right now, but what were those elements that changed the culture, that sparked those change between 3 and over 300 students at a time?
Yes, so I think that if you look at Slush and the success there, I mean, the first Slush event, we had about 300 people show up, and then we asked, local entrepreneurs, local founders share their entrepreneurial journey. And the point was really to kind of show that, hey, there are other crazy people, out there who are doing these kind of things. So it's, again, to create role models. And, it's a little bit like, Ilkka Paananen, who started Supercell, and I met Ilkka, when he was running a company called Sumea, then Digital Chocolate and all of that. And, Ilkka many times said that, okay, they looked at Rovio, and then, if those guys at Rovio can do that, so can we. And then they did that. They went out, built Supercell, and became much, much more successful than Rovio ever was. And they had a 10 billion exit to Tencent. So again, I think that's what it's all about, that you see that other people are, doing crazy things, in this case, like being entrepreneurs. And I think that this is something that is very, very important, that you see that other people are doing the same, that you are not, only one. And actually, at the first Slush, there was a local entrepreneur that after the event came up to me and said that, hey, wow, that we had a room full, 300 people, crazy entrepreneurs. And he had just moved back to Finland from the UK after, getting exit from one of his startups. And then he said that he was almost, about to leave the country because he thought that he was like the only crazy one, and there's no entrepreneurs, startup entrepreneurs here. But then he came to Slush and said, hey, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to start another company. And he did. And I think that that's on a micro level how it works, that you need to have role models. I mean, it's a little bit like, if nobody in your family ever went to university, then you don't, like, oh, I can't go because, hey, nobody in my family has ever gone there. So, it's like, can't be done. But then you start looking, young people see that, oh, they startup and they seem to be okay and they're enjoying life and they're making stuff happen. I want to do that as well. And I think that it's almost nowadays here in Finland and this kind of like finest Bay Area, Finland, Estonia, Sweden, that it used to be back in the day that everybody wanted to have like a band and be an artist or something. But now, hey, I want to, become like Daniel Ek, who started Spotify, or Ilkka with Supercell. So those are the rock stars of like the current generation, and young people now want to be entrepreneurs. And actually, it's not only that young people want to be entrepreneurs. I mean, we get into kind of like Ambitious Africa and Adelante Americas and all that. That what entrepreneurs want to do, and I think what young people want to do, is to change the world. And it's a little bit of a cliche, but if you ask any entrepreneurs, like, okay, why are you doing this? And I always say that, yeah, because I want to change the world. And I think that is really the motivation, that you want to change the world, you want to make the world a better place. And I think now, if you talk with young people, I mean, it is about saving the planet. It's about creating sustainable solutions to the big problems out there. I mean, we all know about like climate change, and we need to kind of like take all of these things like seriously. And I think that then the best way to change the world, the most efficient way to change the world, is through entrepreneurship. But then, in order to know what to do and how to be an entrepreneur, of course, you need to have a foundation in strong education. So that's why we talk always about education, entrepreneurship, and entertainment. Entertainment because it should be fun. Mm-hmm. And another reason for that is also that we are always, like even now, the two of us here talking, we're competing for the attention, for people's time. And, rather than watch us here, they might, like boot up a game on their phone, or they, let's check what's on Netflix tonight. And so we have to make sure that when we deliver these things, we are delivering them in a form where people want to be part of it. They want to, join the movement, make that change happen. And then they'll forget about playing that game or checking out the latest hit on Netflix. So it's very, very important. And I mean, also, I think your show is a great example of that. That, we could sit there and look very boring and stiff and, very corporate and talk about this is serious business.
Yeah. Changing the world, all the problems that exist.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, again, it should be fun.
You have to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
I love this approach, and I really want to thank you for what you guys are doing with Adelante Americas and Ambitious Africa and Aspiring Asia. In Disruptivo, we are going to be joining as partners. We've already joined as partners, and we'll be doing a lot of work. So for the people watching us, the young people in America, hopefully somebody from other countries. Well, we have audience in Emprender Pijama from all around. Yeah. Why you mentioned a very strong phrase, a very strong sentence there, and I wanna question it, not because I believe it, not because I don't believe it, I obviously do, but because I wanna know what's behind it in your. You mentioned entrepreneurship is the best way to change the world.
Yes.
Becoming an entrepreneur changes the world. A lot of people in developing countries like the ones I live in, like Mexico, like Latin America, where we have a lot of issues. We have poverty, we have corruption, we have violence, we have a lot of it's still the how do I say it, the most popular way to become a professional, to have a steady income, to have a good life, is to work at a company or to work for the government, kind of to lower your head, to lower a little bit your aspirations and do your work and go back home. Why should we change that stability to become entrepreneurs? And why is it so important? Why will it change the world? And why can't, it's not that we can't change the world in the government or in other places, but why is it a better way to change the world in entrepreneurship than all other options that probably a lot of people are looking for today?
Yeah, but entrepreneurship for me, it's again, doing things. And we need more entrepreneurial mindset in government, in the big companies, everywhere. So it's just like, that's why I think that it's safe to say that, doing things, that's like the best way to change the world, and not doing things guaranteed not to change anything. So I think that's like the starting point. But then it's also very clear, and this is also it's like a rule of nature that young people are the future. I mean, that's just like the way it works. Okay, so if you want to have a better future, we need to invest in our young people. And I always say that it's the job of us, slightly older people, to make sure that we keep the old people and the governments out of the way while the young people change the world. So we need to remove the obstacles. We need to empower the young people to actually go out there and make this happen. And with Adelante Americas, the idea then is that, I've heard that you have some problems and some challenges in Mexico. I heard about
maybe one or two.
Yeah,
one or two issues.
Not a perfect educational system, and then there's some problems with various not so nice people, and many things. So then if you ask young people, very quickly you will get I'll ask, okay, what is the biggest problem? And then education, or corruption, or long list of many things, and they feel like we will never be able to solve this. And actually, you cannot solve it, one person. But if we have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands young people working together, of course we can make any country amazing, and we can fix these things. And I think that is, with Adelante Americas and all that, hey, let's start looking at then, okay, if we have a challenge, on the educational side, what do we need to fix it? Do we need to have better teachers? Okay, let's work on the teacher education, okay, we need more entrepreneurs. Okay, how do we fix that? Okay, Slush seemed to be a good tool in Finland and in Finest Bay Area and all of that. So why don't we see if we could do something similar in Mexico, and so on and so on. So it's really, and then bringing people together from Finland, from Nordic countries, from Europe, with Mexico, with Latin America, and I think that my experience is that when you do that and you create an environment where young people can work together, and you also focus on removing the obstacles, so I'm basically getting the government and the older people out of the way, then you can make anything happen. But it's again the thing that you need to have the role models, you need to empower people, and you have to show that it's possible. And I think that is what Adelante Americas is all about, that that's what we want to do, and we want to work on the really big, really challenging problems together, and then we apply this triple E model. So yes, education, yes, entrepreneurship, and hey, entertainment is like this show, serious discussion, serious issues, but we do it in a fun way, because why not?
That's awesome, and I have this phrase here. It's in Spanish. It's tattooed, and it's on the other. I record the interviews on two sides of my house, and on the other wall I have a phrase, the same phrase here, that says, "The world is not going to change by itself.
Yes.
The world is not going to change on its own." But I think that you mentioned a very important part. Nobody on its own is going to change it either. We have to. Everybody has to do something. And a message that I want to send out to the people watching us, especially the community of Adelante Americas, is not all of us will build huge global projects and global startups. We should aim for that.
Yes.
But even if you change the life of one person with your project, with your business, that is changing the world. Because the world is now different from what it was before, even if it's for one person. And the collection of a lot of those experiences is what actually makes a change. You are very generous with your time. We're almost running in the hour. I don't want to go beyond the hour. So I just have one, maybe two questions for you.
Yeah.
And I want to connect on what the last part that you were mentioning, that we should do it. We should make it fun. We already said why social change and sustainability should be fun, because that way we'll attract people's attention from all the other entertaining things, but also from the problems that are happening. You are a master of entertainment, that you guys have built an amazing, maybe the biggest platform in the last 10 years of entertainment and fun. And normally, when we're talking about sustainability, when we're talking about climate change, when we're talking about stuff like poverty, like gender inequality, like violence, those are big problems that affect a lot of people. And the speech, the way we talk about this becomes very serious and becomes very negative. And I think that alienates a lot of people, because people already have their own problems, and people don't want to, How can we make our projects, our entrepreneurs, our endeavors fun, while also creating impact. Like I would love to get a few tips or a few things that you learned that we can apply to our things to make it fun, to actually. Entertainment is one of the core pillars of the work of Adelante Americas, but it's easier said than done, right? So what can you say, a practical thing that we can have in our heads? Okay, so now I'm going to remember from Peter that to make my project more entertaining, more fun, and so we can have a lot of more engagement, I always have to have this in my mind.
Yeah, but I think that it's again you have to kind of like start with this, that there are very few things out there that like actually are impossible. So, everything is possible. And then, like you could start with, okay, so let's say that we have a problem with corruption. Okay, fine. So that sounds like a pretty big problem. And let's fix it. And I was actually talking to our Ambitious Africa team in Zimbabwe, and I asked them that, okay, what is the biggest problem here in Zimbabwe? Corruption. So I said, okay, fine, let's fix that. And they started laughing. And I said, okay, very good, because when you are laughing, then I know that we have set the ambition right. And then it's our job to stop the laughter. So, we can apply the same here. Then we start looking, okay, so what can we do? And then I say, okay, fine, let's, look at very concrete. We need to digitalize everything so we can track all the transactions and everything. I can call, the Tax Finland people, and they've done a lot of that. So, let's invite them and have them talk to the right people like here in Zimbabwe, and then we can get it sorted. So, next question. And, and of course, it's not as simple as that, okay, we call in 2 people and all that, but the thing is that you have to start somewhere. And then, if you need some help from, the president, the prime minister, why don't you give him or her a call? And then it's like, oh, but I can't do that. So why not? I'm sure you can. And, it's again that we shouldn't limit our own, ability.
We shouldn't be the ones who stop ourselves.
Yeah.
Most of the times, that's our biggest enemy. We don't believe we can make it. We say no before we even try.
Exactly. So so I think that it's again, and then it's also, when you want to eat an elephant, it kind of makes sense to eat it, one piece at a time.
I love that.
So then you start, splitting this huge challenge into smaller pieces, and then, hey, wow, this is not so difficult. I mean, we need to do this, and I think that again we come back to this, that it's about doing. So you just have to go out there on the pitch, in the football game, and you have to kind of go and score a few goals. And you will not score those goals, first of all, if you don't go there, to play. And then when you play, if you don't take the shots. I mean, 100% sure that you will miss the shots that you don't take.
Yeah.
So it's kind of as simple as that. And it's not always easy, but who cares about doing easy things? I mean, that's also anybody can do easy. So let's focus on difficult things, and let's do difficult stuff first. Easy will follow.
I love that. I always try to give a challenge for people who are in this position, who want to start something out and are, worried or are doubting. And I always tell them, do something before the end of the week. That's the challenge, whatever it is. Yesterday, 2 days ago, we gave a talk on LinkedIn, and I told them, before the end of the week, do something. And one person messaged me the day after and said, after I heard you, I went and I created my LinkedIn's company page. That's something, even something as simple as that. It's something because it gets you on a track. It gets you it gets the momentum started. And you'll start with small things, and you'll eventually get to these big things that you are saying.
Totally.
Peter, I love this, and I love to finish with this, to be super practical about how to start getting things done. I would love to simply open the mic and say, before we finish, for the people watching us in different parts, in different countries, do you have one more thing that you would like to tell them? You've already told us start. Just do something to get started. We've learned a lot. Is there any other thing that we should take out from you, from your experience, that will help us build this more sustainable world altogether?
I think that, already said, like the key things there that, like you should go out there and like do it and then do things that you love to do. So if you combine, the doing and doing what you love, I think that then you can't fail.
Awesome. I love it. And if you do fail, then you learn and you keep doing it and you grow. And like we said before, and you connect with a lot of people. Amazing. Peter, thank you so much for your time. Having somebody like you for an hour, it's really a treat. It's amazing. You build amazing stuff. And I think, if you don't mind me saying it, that we haven't seen the best from you, which is also so inspiring, also so cool. The impact of Adelante Americas, of Ambitious Africa, of all these youth initiatives are going to surpass the impact of Angry Birds
of course.
In the billions. So I want to thank you for your time, not only in this interview, for your time spent and for your energy and everything that you're doing for young people, for entrepreneurship, education, and entertainment. I want to finish off inviting everybody that is watching us to join Adelante Americas, or if you're in other parts of the country or of the world, join the initiatives that are in your locality, Ambitious Africa, Aspiring Asia. Join them, follow them on social media. They're starting to do a lot of amazing projects. Even now in the pandemic, they are helping entrepreneurs who are starting right now. It's not an excuse to be in a pandemic, not something. So join them, and you'll find mentors, amazing mentors like Peter and a lot of other people around the globe helping us, because we're here for you guys. We're here for the youth, because like Peter said, you're the future, but you have to start taking action in the present to build that future. Peter, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everybody, and we are off. We're finishing this recording. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for Peter, and thank you so much for Juan for coming here today, and we are so happy. This interview was so inspiring, and as Connie mentioned earlier, so this was just 30 minutes of the interview that was pre-recorded, so you can find the full 1-hour interview online on Juan Del Cerro's or Disruptivo TV's channels on social media. So please do watch it and share it, and as Juan Del Cerro said, please follow Adelante America as well. But now we're going for our next speaker, and she is especially important for me, because the first time I got to listen to her speak was 9 years ago on Broadway, when I was living in New York. So Carrie Foster, welcome. Carrie is a speaker, humorist, and an author of the best-selling book You Can Be Perfect or You Can Be Happy, and creator of Inversity, which is a revolutionary way to address diversity, equity, and inclusion. She has been featured in hit documentaries. She has also appeared on various TV shows, on radio. She has done humorous and thoughtful TEDx talks. And she is the CEO of Inversity Solutions and a founder of Frame, which is a nonprofit whose mission is to inspire free speech, inclusion, social change, and empowerment through education and mentorship on college and university campuses. I personally think she is the funniest girl I've ever met, and I know some pretty funny people. So please, Carrie, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you, Ari, so much. What an honor to be here and to share this really, I think, powerful and poignant message. And the conversation today, I wanted to base it around the title of my book, You Can Be Perfect or You Can Be Happy. And, just a little background, how this even came to be, how this, is part of my curriculum, is that I, have had a pretty successful life and career. And then I became a mom and that changed everything, which can happen when you become a parent. I mean, it's a whole new ball game with, a lot of things that aren't necessarily in your control. And something happened early on with my first child when she was born that I couldn't control. And it threw me into a tailspin, and it wasn't anything I could do anything about necessarily, but I felt it was my fault. And I wasn't doing a good job, and it wasn't perfect. It's, you know, that meme, you've got one job, right? My one job was to, you know, bring this beautiful child into the world and keep her alive and healthy, and something out of my control wasn't letting me do that right then and there. And I realized at that point, a friend came to visit, and she said, you know what, Kara, you can be happy or you can be perfect. And the choice is yours. And it was a nice thing to say, but it didn't really resonate with me until later. And I thought about it, and I switched the wording around a little bit, but I thought, you can be perfect or you can be happy. The choice is yours. And I realized how much of my life I had spent trying to be perfect. The perfect friend, the perfect student, the perfect daughter, the perfect girlfriend, the perfect employee, the perfect boss, and how much of my time that was actually usurping, but not just my time. It was costing money. It was costing energy. It was certainly costing even opportunities that I passed up because I didn't think I was perfect enough for it. And what I realized was that not only is perfection a lie, it's something we've been sold across the globe from, you know, certainly media and now social media, but that happiness is a choice. And while happiness is not going to be the same for everyone who's on here, we're all individuals. It's going to be as individual as we are, but it is a choice. The caveat, though, is that it's not a constant, and that's okay too. It's okay not to be on all the time. It's okay not to be, you know, in a good mood every single second of your life. There is nothing wrong with you if you are having a bad day or week. It is okay, I think, if you have the opportunity to stay in bed for a day or a weekend. 3 weeks, you should probably call someone. Okay, but you know, it's okay to have downtime is what I'm saying, because life isn't always going to be fantastic and unicorns, you know, pooping Skittles. You're going to have the highs and the lows. And I think that one of the best representations of happiness, right, and how we could view it is, you know, if you've ever seen a movie or a TV show or even been in person with a heart monitor, right, an EKG, and you see that heartbeat, right, you're watching it go up and down, up and down. Well, that's life. You got highs and you got lows. You got great things that happen. You have setbacks. The highs, when you have them, you enjoy the heck out of them. And when you're in a little bit of a pit, you understand that it's temporary because you are going to eventually be able to go back up. The only time you are ever in trouble, just like in real life with a heart monitor, is when you got that straight line. Because that's when the story is over. And you cannot do anything else about it, and you can't change it. So with that being said, what I call the curriculum for getting back to the basics, and what the book is based on, is I call it getting back to the basics. And the basics, forgive me, I'm having serious allergies here in Texas. But the basics is an acronym for, I think, a very simple way for people to remember, like, okay, how do I remember perfection isn't everything, it's a lie, and happiness is attainable for me? Well, you can do that by first, the B, and in sign language is this, ASL, be kind. Be kind. It's the golden rule, right? What I think, though, people tend to forget is, well, we all hear be kind to other people, you know, be polite, use your manners, say thank you, be gracious. And what I think we also forget is that kindness is free. Like, you don't have to, you know, do that pay it forward thing where you buy somebody a coffee who's behind you and then they keep doing it. I mean, that is great. Yes, if that's your thing, do it. But kindness can also be a gesture. It can be a thank you note. It can be giving someone a compliment who's having a bad day. You have no idea what your kindness could do for someone. In my book, I share a story about finding a young woman's cell phone. And this was before, I mean, our cell phones were still in our lives, but this was before there was a lot of like caller ID. This is the early 2000s. You guys are probably way ahead of us in Europe. But in America, it was just, you know, somebody's phone number. Most people still had landlines. And I'm scrolling through trying to see if I could find somebody who would know whose phone this was. And I get to alphabetically, I get to D, and it's Dad. And I call her father. And, he was kind of a gruff personality. And I said, well, listen, I found your daughter's cell phone, sir. I'd like to return it to her. He's like, which daughter? I'm like, the one who lives in New York City. He said, well, I have 4 and 2 live in New York City. I'm like, well, good for them. They're doing well. And then he goes, well, why can't you call her? I go, because I have her phone and I don't even know who she is. So we figure out which daughter it was. He eventually does reach out to her. He contacts her at home. She calls me the next day, meets me at my office in Midtown in New York City. We exchange pleasantries. We share a little bit about our lives. I tell her I'm a stand-up comedian. She's like, oh, I'd love to come to a show one day. She gave me a little gift card to a department store. And we go on our way. I thought that was it. That was the end of the story. I did my karma. My kindness for the week or month was done. Well, a couple months later, I run into a friend who's like, Kareth, you're never going to believe this. I was sitting on a plane next to the girl whose phone you found. And I'm like, what? How what? The friend was a comedy club owner. So I guess when they were doing their small talk, they revealed what each of them did. She's like, oh, you own a comedy club? I'm just met a comedian. She found my phone. This is where I get goosebumps every time I share this story. That young woman whose phone I found, she and her father had been estranged for years. They hadn't spoken to each other for years. They hadn't even seen each other for longer than that. And because he had to call her, they had to reignite the relationship. And she was on that plane to go see her dad for the first time. That's what one small act of kindness can do. It cost me nothing. It cost me nothing. And I think more to the point of being kind to others, we need to remember to be kind to ourselves. And, there is that, there's a book out there. It's pretty famous, worldwide bestseller. There's a great line in it. It says, love your neighbor as yourself. Well, we have to think about this. How many of us are loving ourselves? How many of us wake up first thing in the morning, look in the mirror like, hot goodness, you look amazing? Very few. Most of us are like, oh, there's a wrinkle there and a blotch and I'm breaking out. Look at these rolls. And, we are instantly just tearing ourselves down. That's not kindness. That's not kindness at all. That's not how you wouldn't say those things to a complete stranger, would you? If you do, then you need a spanking. But why would you do that to yourself, right? If someone else did that to you, just came up to you on the street and was like, oh, what's going on with this over here? Oh, your makeup looks terrible. You're overweight. You would be appalled. So why do we do that to ourselves? Why is that acceptable? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be acceptable at all. So be kind to yourself as well as to others. Now, after being kind, the A and getting back to the basics is ask for what? Ask for help. Part of what you all are doing right now is giving help to business people, to entrepreneurs, to thought leaders, to people who want to improve the world and themselves, right? And we can't do all of these things by ourselves. We can only do it through mentorship. We do it through programs like this. And we still have to ask. Because first of all, people aren't mind readers. They don't know necessarily what we need at every moment of the day. And I think one of the biggest things that we need to do is take the stigma out of asking, take the stigma out of thinking that asking for help is a sign of weakness. Because quite honestly, nothing could be further from the truth. When you ask for help, when you ask for assistance because you want to make an improvement on yourself or a project you're working on, what that actually shows is your dedication to being, taking it next level. It's proof that you are willing and committed to doing what you need to do to make something extraordinary. And again, not perfect, but extraordinary. And I think, that, when I say don't try to be perfect, I'm not saying don't be, put your best effort in, just, whatever, it's good enough. It's that'll, but it means not stressing yourself out to the point that you are paralyzed by perfection, because that can happen very readily too. We think, if it has to be perfect, it has to be done just this way. Trust me, if I'm a work in progress. I am a recovering perfectionist. My book, if it was still in my, you know, the way I wanted to do it, I'd still be editing it, right? It wouldn't be out there yet for the world to see. But at some point I had to say, this is what it is. And I've put my heart and soul into it, and it's going to be just right for those who need it. And I released it and let it go. And so, and I did ask for help. I had editors. I had people design for me. You know, I can't do all of those things myself. Like, we often think we should be this like one man or one woman show. And that's not true either. And I think, you know, when we put it in this, the form of understanding that, you know, I don't know if everybody on this call grows all their own food. They, you know, grind all of the grain to make their bread. They homeschool their children from preschool all the way to college. They do their own taxes. They diagnose themselves without going to a doctor. Some of us probably do that, but we shouldn't. You know, there are things that we do. We are always asking for help. We just don't see it that way. So why would you include seeking improvement as a form of weakness? Are we supposed to be engaging? Like, am I okay just going through and talking like this?
We can be engaging, but I mean, you're just so inspiring. So I just want to listen to you. And
okay, I don't want to take away from like having this, and maybe we could like talk at the end. But I'll just go through the basics, and then we just have a good conversation. Let's do that, because I'm just on a roll. So we'll do this. So after the A and ask for help. Oh, also ask for what you want. And I love the conversation that I was watching just before I came on. And they said, it's basically what I say. You don't get what you don't ask for. If you don't ask, you're not going to get it. So you have to put it out there. You have to step out of that comfort zone. You have to push past the fear of the no. Guess what? You're going to get told no sometimes. Is it going to kill you? Unless it's like a life-saving medicine that, like, you know what I mean? Like, no, the answer, like somebody saying, hey, can you do this for me? No, I can't. That's not going to kill you. Go ask the next person, right? Find a way around it. Do something yourself. Ask for what you want and be specific. Nobody just walks into a restaurant and says to the server, I'm hungry. Bring me something. No, you look at the menu. You order from the menu. You say, I'd like this, this, and this. Please don't have this on there. I'm allergic. Please include this, and I would like this to drink. Typically, that's how it works, right? Same with life. When you ask for what you want and you're specific, that is what you get. There's an adage, be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. That's why you need to be specific and thoughtful. So after asking for what you want and being specific, the S in the basics, well, there's two that I really want to focus on. One is stop comparing yourself. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop comparing yourself to your sister, your brother, your coworker, your cousin, your frenemy, the person down the street who you think has got it all together. Stop it. Stop it. Nobody is living the same life as you. And the people who you think may have the best life, may have the most incredible things going on, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And that is where social media, social media can be such a blessing. It connects us, it keeps us in each other's lives, it shows us new ideas, but it also can be a space of this really dangerous rabbit hole where we start like, oh, look at that person's house is so together. Oh, look, their homeschool setup is so neat, and I'm an absolute failure. Like, there's an app called Pinterest where all these moms post their arts and crafts and and I'm like, oh my, like I go on there when I just want to feel bad about myself, because I'm like, how did you make an entire 4-course meal out of toilet paper rolls? Like, how did you do that? Because that's never something that's going to be coming out of these hands. So I can't compare myself, and I shouldn't, because they can't do what I can do, and maybe I can't do what they can do. So I need to be okay with who I am and what I am. And, when you compare yourself, that does not mean you don't look for inspiration. It does not mean you don't admire somebody for what they've done, but thinking that you should be doing it that exact same way, or you should have the same successes as them by trying to do, not, taking away from who you are and what you can do, that's not useful. It's detrimental, and it's hurtful to you. So don't compare yourself. There's a saying, right? The grass is always greener on the other side. Well, I like to say that the grass is greener when you water your own lawn. So you need to be taking care of yourself, paying attention to what's going on in your life, not worrying about what, Susie and Jim and, Jose and them, what they're doing over there. Okay. Sometimes it's none of your business. Your business is you and your people and your family and what you're working on, your projects. Don't get distracted by the comparisons. Be inspired, but don't get distracted. The other stop it is stop judging. Stop judging other people. When we judge people, what we're basically saying is, I'm right and you're wrong. And that's all fine and good, but when you think about it, that means you're going to have to write out your list of your rules for the entire world to follow. Now, if you're doing this on paper, first of all, you're going to wipe out all the rainforests with the paper is wood it's going to take to make that paper, to write these booklets. Because there's a couple billion people, India, China alone. And then we got 330 plus million people in America. That's a lot of work, right? Even if it was sending emails, that's a ton of emails. Who has time for that? Can you BCC that many people? No, you can't. So instead of having a judgment, right? This idea that it has to be your way, that's the only way, it's the right way, have an opinion. Everybody's entitled to opinion. Guess what? Everybody's got an opinion. They're like belly buttons. Everybody's got one, okay? And the beauty is switching from a judgment to an opinion. Do you know the weight that takes off of you, the responsibility, right, of having to, be in charge and dictate and put people in their place? Plus, when we judge, what we think about most of the time? Other people judging us. And if we can stop worrying about what other people think of us, other people judging us, do you know the freedom that gives you? The peace, that affords you, the ability to not worry about what someone else is doing, and you do your own thing unabashedly. That is so fantastic. Okay, after you stop it, I want you to ignore the critics. And when I say the critics, I mean the haters, right? I'm talking about the people who have nothing good to say because they don't have anything going on in their lives. And those are usually the people that are jealous. They're the people that wish they had the cojones that you do. They're the people that, are stuck in their fear. They're paralyzed by their own fear. And sometimes the haters, the critics, are the people who, they're hurt. They're hurt themselves. And I do believe that hurt people hurt people. Now, what's really interesting is that sometimes the critics can be the people that are closest to us. They can be a family member. They can be a significant other. They can be a parent, who also, I believe, they're just kind of stuck in their own fear. And it's not that they don't want you to do something or go for it, but, they're scared for you. Don't live in their fear. Okay, don't let that take over. Push past that. Now, here's the real ta-da, is sometimes we can be our own worst critics. And again, kind of piggybacking on that conversation, this is about getting out of your own way, having happiness in your life, having success in your life. Don't think you can't have something. Why? Because nobody else had it before? Or because you don't think you deserve it? The fact that you exist, the fact that you are a living, breathing human being. I'm not going to go into a sex ed talk here, but do you know what it took, the biology and the magic for that one little sperm to find that egg and make you? That's miraculous. So the fact that you exist means that you have purpose. And your purpose is to live your dreams. And your dreams are your ideas, the things that come into your head of what could be possible. And you make that possible by ignoring the critics, including yourself sometimes. So after you ignore the critics, the C and the basics, well, there's two. There's many, but I'm just going to narrow it down to two. Celebrate your victories. I want you to do a happy dance when you've done something that has really just pushed the limits, when you've gotten out of your comfort zone. I want you to celebrate when you put that resume together. I want you to celebrate when you got an email response back for a new business, when you raised some money for something. I want you to celebrate. And it doesn't have to be this big, boisterous, look what I did all on social media. It can be having a piece of chocolate, okay? It can be happy dancing with your dog. It can be getting a massage or going out for a dinner or making yourself your favorite meal. There's so many ways to celebrate. That can be personal, that can be private, and sometimes it can be on a larger scale. But when you have a victory, you need to sometimes pat yourself on the back to keep going, because not everybody else is going to do that. And that's okay. That's not everybody's responsibility, but it is your responsibility. Remember, we're going to loop back to kindness. How can you be kind to yourself? Celebrating your victories. Now, I did mention comfort in there, stepping out of your comfort zone. And that's one of the other C's that I talk about in my book. And that C is comfort be damned. Now, everybody likes to be comfortable, me included. And who doesn't like on a rainy day to curl up with a good book, maybe in front of a fire, having a nice cup of hot tea or cocoa? Like that's good comfort. Can we all agree? Or even, if it's summer, being on the beach with your, a cool drink and an umbrella, but it's comfort. The comfort I'm saying to be damned is a comfort where we get used to being in a situation and it's not good for us. It doesn't serve us. It actually is a place where we know that we shouldn't be there, but we've gotten comfortable and we're too scared to take a step to leave. Sometimes that happens in relationships. Sometimes that happens in jobs. Sometimes that happens, when we live in a place. Well, I've just been here for so long. I don't know if I'll find another place for this amount of money or in a neighborhood that I'll like. And so we're stuck, right? And that's the bad comfort. That's the comfort that you need to just push it aside. You have to say, you know what? And I get it. It can be scary, right? To step out of what you know. It can be scary to step out on the edge, but think about how little we would have in this world if everybody's just stayed comfortable, right? We would not have the technology that we have. We would not have the inventions and we wouldn't have airplanes. If people were just comfortable with, I'm just good taking the train. We don't need to go up in the air. That's what's that for? That's what birds do. There are so many things that we have to think about that if everybody just stayed comfortable and complacent, we would be lacking. So after getting out of your comfort zone, the last S and getting back to the basics for this conversation, again, it's kind of 2 S's, but the first one is say no. Say no when you are being stretched too thin. I know we think, to be successful, I have to say yes. I have to take everything on. Sometimes you have to say no to say yes to yourself. Sometimes there are moments in our life when you have to say no because it goes against your morals or your standards. It may cost some kind of opportunity, but I guarantee you a better one will come along because you said no for the right reasons, okay? There's a time and a place to say no, and you have to trust yourself in that. When it doesn't feel right, when it's going to hurt someone else, when it's going to, take away from something that's really good and positive. That's what this whole conversation is about, right? How we can be the best individuals we can be to make the best world that we can live in. So after saying no to the things that you know you need to say no to, I want you to say yes. And I want you to say yes to the things that scare you a little bit, that excite you, but that scare you. The things that take you out of your comfort zone. And I have a story about that. I, am a professional comedian as well. I've done that. And I was given an opportunity years ago to be on a television show with a major comedian. And I was so scared. Larry the Cable Guy, who's kind of an international figure, I guess, but I was terrified. I felt I was too young. I'd only been in the business a few years. And here I was getting this grand opportunity to be on national television. And I didn't want to blow it. I made the mistake of asking comics who were more senior to me, what would you do? And they're like, well, you only get one chance to make a first impression. That may be so, but you know what? I shouldn't have listened to them because what ended up happening was I did say no, and I turned down that incredible opportunity. And a couple months later, actually maybe it was a couple years later, I see a friend announce on social media that he got a writing job for the same television network that I had the opportunity to go on. And I'm like, oh, congratulations. Because I just support anybody who does well in the entertainment industry. And I said, what show are you writing for? He's like, well, it's not really a show. And then he described the event. It was the same event that I was supposed to have gone on. And I said, wait a second, you mean they have writers? And that's when it dawned on me. It wouldn't have been just me on the screen doing my stuff. I wouldn't have been responsible for I would have had help. I would have had help if I had just said yes. And that I needed a lesson that big to teach me to say yes from there on out. And I have. Every time something has come my way that I wanted, but it scared me a little bit, I said yes. And guess what? Every time, it has always worked out. Always, always, always. God, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, here's you. But you have to say yes first. So at that, Audi, I will come back to you and we can have a conversation.
Thank you, Karit. I mean, I have your book, and still listening to you talking about it, it still gives me goosebumps. So I'm just so happy you came here today, and I mean, you are such an inspiration to so many people, and I'm glad that you came here and were such an inspiration for our listeners. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you all so much.
Thank you so much, Karit. I actually just ordered your book right now because I want to read it. I didn't know about it before, but I'm so happy that you were able to give us some of your words, some of your inspiration. It's touched a lot of us. So thank you so much for coming here today. And again, it's just spreading this peace, spreading this sustainable world, and it all starts within. It starts with the one person that is trying to make that change. So please make sure to go and follow Karit, check out her book, so that we can get inspired some more by her words. Thank you so much, Karit.
I appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So up next, we're gonna have Cinnamon Denise join us on stage. She is actually, I'm going to go ahead, I have the honor of presenting her. She is actually my sorority sister, so I am beyond excited to welcome her here into the Adelante America Sustainability Launch. Cinnamon is a vocalist. She is a classically trained bassoonist, and she's a producer who has a talent in engulfing listeners into her music. She is also a yoga instructor, and she believes that music has a power to bring about change in the world. So with that being said, Denise, if you could turn on your camera and your microphone. I think you might be having a little bit of trouble.
And also, if you're not able to do it, so if you could just click on the left corner, so from the round screw, so if you click it, then you can just choose the video and the microphone from there.
Because I see you're online here.
So while we're waiting, so I'll just quote Cinnamon. I believe in the power of music to bring about change in this world. So let's make some music and spread some love. I think it's so great, and it suits so well our topic of today and our sustainability launch. So I hope that Cinnamon will be able to join us now.
Let me see. Cinnamon, can you hear us?
So Cinnamon, if you could just log out for a second and log back in, and when you choose, there's a list. So choose the one that is under the second one. The first option is the rehearsal, and the second one is the actual going live, because I had some technical problems when we did the first session of education, and I was able to sign in after I signed out and re-choose the session that I was attending. So hopefully we get Cinnamon here soon.
Oh yeah, she's saying she's hopping up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect or happy.
Exactly. So sometimes we have technical problems, right? But I think it's a small price to pay for all the things we can do by connecting with each other through platforms such as Deal Room. Really helps people connect and really network within each other. And what time is it in Dubai right now, Oti?
It is actually just past 4 a.m. and it's been an incredible evening, because we started 9 p.m. with the first part, with the first session, and now it's 4 a.m. and it's been an incredible day. Now I see Cinnamon is getting back online, so hopefully she'll be able to choose the right video and audio from the left corner. Okay. So,
there you go. I think she's on.
Yay!
Hi. Look at you.
Hi. Let me log out of the other one. Hold on. I switched to Safari, so.
Oh, there you go.
I was
Sometimes.
in Google Chrome, and I was like, okay, let me use my brain. Like, how can I do this? But hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? We're so excited to welcome you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this. Auti, how are you?
I am good, and it's 4 a.m. as I said earlier, and I am super excited still. And it's been a few years that I've been up so late, but we've had an amazing evening, and now finally, I mean, you will be here performing and talking to us, and we can't wait to hear and listen to you.
Thank you so much. Well, I'll hop right into it. That's okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cinnamon Denise. Just like the spice, Denise is my middle name. My full name is Cinnamon Denise Murray. Thank you so much, Consuelo, Auti, Mary Peterson, and the entire Adelante Americas team for having me. It's truly an honor, and I hear that we have friends from Finland, the UAE, and even Laredo, Texas. I'm currently based in Austin, Texas, but I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And before I kind of get into everything, I'll provide some context of my background and speak a little more on some things, and then I'll close with the original song. As far as my background, I'm from a military family, and my father was in the Army, my mother as well, and they're both retired military. So we did travel around a lot. I am a professional musician, and by professional musician, I mean I'm a songwriter. I perform, I produce music, I edit music, I mix music, I do so many things. I'm an audio engineer. I edit the audio for Founders Journal podcasts, which is one of the flagship podcasts for Morning Brew. And I project manage so many new podcasts that are coming out in the B2B space. I played the bassoon for 16 years and I've been singing for 24 years. And all of these things just make up the things that I do. And if you're like me, you feel as though your productivity is connected to so much of your being. And so I'm very much like, I gotta do. And that's not always the case, but I will say that I do a lot of things and I love every single thing that I do. That's why I'm always wanting to produce things. I graduated from the University of Miami with a bachelor's degree in music production and a minor in Spanish, and graduated from Berklee College of Music with a master's degree in music technology. As my sorority sister said, I'm a sister of Sigma Lambda Gamma National Sorority Incorporated. I am the songwriter of our organization's national song. I have my own podcast titled The Music Executive, and I'm a yoga teacher. I love yoga. Yoga has helped me with a lot of things in my life as far as stability and meditation. Like someone says, I heard someone say, when I don't do yoga, I'm really mean. So it's like yoga just helps me stay grounded and patient with myself and with others. Beyond all this, I think it's important to tell my story, because my story is not uncommon or unusual, but I think it's often really untold. So when I was asked to speak, I was given a prompt about the 17 sustainable development goals as set by the United Nations. And today I'll be focusing on goal 16. Goal 16 is to promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. And out of that, I'll be focusing on the inclusive institutions aspect of this goal, mainly because it's where I can best speak from a place of passion, understanding, and empathy. As I discussed in the beginning, I have 2 degrees in music production and technology, but let's talk hard facts. When it comes to music production, and particularly in the US, only 5% of the music that we hear is produced by a woman. And these staggering, unfair numbers are not special to the music industry. When we are analyzing the most recent Census Bureau, women of all races earned on average just 82 cents for every $1 earned by men of all races. And referencing back to the music producer data, there have been calls for women to step up, to be better, to just, almost like a level of accountability that's always being placed on women to improve their production skills. But what does it truly mean to create an inclusive space and or institution? So the perfect example, I recently had a one-on-one production lesson with a producer that I really look up to. And for context, producers use samples a lot and build sample libraries from which to build their sounds. So they can be long loops or they can be short, just snippets of audio from an instrument or anything like that. Samples come from a lot of different places. Some samples are free and some are not, but nonetheless, if you're a producer, you need a big sample library to make your music. And I asked the producer that I was getting the lesson from where he got his samples from. And he proceeded to tell me that when he would be invited to studios, all the producers would share samples with one another. And given the 5% woman producer thing, I imagine that a lot of these producers in the room were men. Now, mind you, I'm not here to bash men. I love men. I love all genders, non-binary, women, anyone in between. I love everyone, but I'm speaking from my context. I can remember not being invited to these studios. And again, one can make the step up argument or the be more aggressive argument. But what about the fact that my male counterparts were invited and I had to ask to come? I'm hard-headed. So if I notice something that even insinuates that you're treating me differently, then I will speak up. But all individuals are not like that, and they shouldn't have to be. And this brings us back to the goal of building effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. Because on the other side of that, when I was in college, I had an amazing program director who would constantly invite me to events that I would otherwise not have access to or even know about. And he wrote my recommendation letter for grad school, and he believed in me. I'm grateful for him. He would speak up for me whenever he noticed anything out of pocket. And this is where being accountable comes in. I think he recognized the position of power and influence that he had. We all need each other to step up for one another and recognize when things are unjust, unfair, and sometimes uncalled for. No one wants to be where they're not welcome. Now, mind you, being inclusive takes effort and energy, and it takes being uncomfortable sometimes. You have to be considerate, thoughtful, and intentional. But isn't it worth it when a project comes together or someone who didn't believe in themselves feels empowered? And building accountable institutions means that you take the time and care with every single individual. It means what you give to one, you give to all, and that you call people out when they don't do that. It means that you empathize with where someone is rather than judge them on where they come from or where they are. And like my sorority sister Consuelo said, I believe in the power of music to bring about change in this world. And I want to make music and spread love. And sometimes all people need is one person to believe in them, or it just takes one person to stand up for one another. Music is one of the many things that bring people in this world together, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. I take music very seriously, and I believe that I always want to write something 100 people love and not something 1 million people kind of like. Music is life itself. I would love to connect with you all on various platforms, whatever suits your fancy. I can be found everywhere as Cinnamon Denise. And if you write to me, I'll always make it my mission to respond back. As far as I've been talking so much about music, and I'm here really and truly to sing this song, this original song, and close out this beautiful event for today. This song that I'm about to sing is called I Think I've Been Here Before. It was written with a dear friend of mine named Dustin Victor. He's an amazing guitarist. And for context, as a member of the LGBTQIA+ community, coming out was very hard and very scary for me, and it did not go well. Granted, many people welcomed me with open arms, but the people that I wanted approval from, which that's a whole nother speech and conversation, like looking for approval from others, right? But the people that I wanted approval from did not approve, and it really tore me apart. So this song was written out of feeling like I was constantly having the same conversation over and over and over again and justifying something that I recognize to be my identity. So with that, I'll sing this song and close. Got to get in the zone, so give me 1 second. If you ask me where I've been, I'll tell you the only truth I know. I've been up to heaven, and it made my heart so cold. Angels met me at the pearly gates and told me to sit here and wait. That is where I found my fate, and 7 deadly sins they turned to 8. This place ain't how I dreamed up. No fuss, my cup is empty. Go ahead and drink up my buzz. It ain't what I need. My high hopes say hello. Tell them I don't know. But I think I've been here before. If you ask me where I'm going, I'll tell you that's a man. I hear there's a man that goes by the name of the great I am. Loving him is up for question because they tell me touching her is a sin. I can only go off what I know, and it's that she always lets me in. Fingers and nose touch, one love, I'm getting sleepy. Go ahead and drink up my buzz. It's just what I need. My high hopes say hello. Tell them I don't know. But I think I've been here before. I don't agree with it. What I prefer, it just ain't a secret. I don't agree with it. Everything around me says to keep it to myself. If you ask me where I'm going between us three, it could be hell or heaven. Angels met me at the pearly gates and told me to sit here and wait. This time it won't be too late. I choose to love her over hate. My hopes, they say hello. Tell them I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I think I've been here before. Thank you so much. And I hope you all have a beautiful night. And please connect with me. Much love, music, and yoga to all of you.
Thank you so much. As Carrie was talking earlier about happy dance, so I just want to do a happy dance right now. That's how happy I am, and your touch me, and I want to thank you all for coming, and thank you once more to all the speakers on our event, all our partners, and of course the team behind all this. I am just glad that the camera was off because I was almost in tears. And actually the same thing happened when Carrie was talking about this cell phone that she had found and the story behind that. So this has truly been a touching evening, and it is not just because it is 4:23 a.m. here, but I am just so happy. No word.
Thank you so much, Denise. That was beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, and your story is just amazing. And as you said, I mean, I think you should speak a little bit more about your story. Let it out there more often because it, like you said, well, it's nothing different. It's not something like something unique or whatever. Like, no, I think everybody has a unique purpose, a unique story, and I think yours is awesome. And I think yours is what you bring to it, your mindset, your take on what life is just amazing. And so please share with us your thoughts, your words, because that was beautiful. And thank you so much for representing so well what SDG 16 is. As soon as I connected with you through Mary, I was like, that she's perfect to close out what the sustainability event is about and what we're trying to achieve here ultimately with Adelante Americas.
Thank you so much. Yeah. You know, one last thing I will say is that we always kind of downplay ourselves, and it's not fair. It's not fair to ourselves. It's not fair to the world to not tell our story and recognize the power of it. So thank you for that.
Exactly. It's not kind, as Kareth was saying. We're not being kind to ourselves. So we need to start doing that. And once again, thank you everybody else for attending. Thank you to our wonderful speakers. And well, I hope this is a wake-up call for a lot of us that we have the opportunity to work together and make a difference. And so again, if you're interested in working with us and partnering up, if you want to connect with other people, as we said before, we are a matchmaking organization. So whatever you might need in entrepreneurship, let us know. We might have it, we might not have it, but if we don't have it, we'll find it for you all. So let's keep in touch, and thank you all so much. And I hope everybody has a wonderful evening, a wonderful morning to whoever is out there in Finland still listening to us, and OT over there in Dubai. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. See y'all later. Bye-bye.